All right, everybody. Hey, how's it going? So welcome to another live stream with me, Nick, on the Build channel. Yeah, nothing special particularly planned today. I have some homework I'm due to work on. I've been taking a couple lessons now, learning about modular and learning about music theory in particular and how it relates to modular. So a lot of messing around with the Symphonian, as you can imagine. I got a new camera set up, so if you see my eyes darting up and down and up and down, it's because I have a monitor above one of the cameras so I can actually see myself. Hey, you guys can see me too. Yeah, so let's just do a quick listen of what I've been working on, which is the start of my homework. Put these scissors away so I don't stab myself. Camera 3. Cool. I think you guys should be able to see that. And you can see me. Hey, sweet. Isn't that cool? All right, let's just turn it up. You have to apologize. This might be a little bit loud. So this is what I was working on Monday. So that is where I left off on Monday. I know you guys didn't see that. I'm sorry. I've been reworking my desk setup quite a bit. So let's talk through the patch. Obviously, once again, the Symphony is at the heart of everything. A lot of stuff going on there we can show. And we have some the bass voice, which is kind of that. It's got a guitar-y sound, you know. Guitars are cool. That is the Manacitaritas by Noise Engineering, basically acting as the lead. On the chord voice, yes, the chord voice, we have the qubit chord, conveniently named, and I don't know why I forgot it, but it is the qubit chord. So let me switch, and we can talk through this patch. Cool. So you guys can see the patch view at the moment. Let's see what we got going on. My glorious, very bright hands. This is very bright. Ghostly white. Cool. So we have 3 channels on the Symphonian. Sequencing, which I should mention, is being handled by Bitwig. So I have Bitwig set up. I have a lead voice, which is nothing right now. A chord 3 voice, which we're not going to be using. Drums. I have a couple scenes at the moment set up. So that's you can hear scene 1. That's scene 1. And then scene 2, or scene 3 rather. Just kind of acting as the chorus right now. It's not perfect chorus, but you know, it's pretty cool. Thank you guys in the chat. Thank you for checking out and watching. I appreciate it. Hey everybody from the DivKit Discord. Shout out to the DivKit Discord if you guys haven't checked that out yet. The DivKit Discord where we all hang out. It's a bunch of fun. Come hang out with us. Yeah, the new polyphonic algorithm in the Disting EX does seem pretty cool. I have not updated my Disting EX firmware in a while. I think it's still on like 1.4 or something like that, 1.5. But I had a lot of fun early on, which I haven't tried recently, is the multi-sample, which is really cool. So you can do things like you can have like orchestral sounds coming into your modular from a module, so not just piped directly from a DAW or something like that. So included in the Disting EX default SD card with the multi-samples and stuff has a bunch of stuff from Spitfire Labs, including some of their orchestra stuff, which is really neat. And it sounds awesome. And then you run it through modules and it goes crazy. A lot of fun to be had there. So yes, I do need to check out the newest firmwares on the Disting EX. I haven't seen those recently. So let's talk about the patch, just as is. So like I said, Bitwig is doing the sequencing today. We're using an actual sequencer. I know last week we had a lot of fun not using an actual sequencer. However, for the purposes of my own sanity, using a sequencer is going to be very useful here. You can't see it, but off camera to my right, I have the push 2, which is both controlling Bitwig and is my sequencer and is my piano, because I can't play piano. Fun. Yeah, so that is acting as my main controller for everything. That goes into the modular over USB to the Expert Sleepers FH2. So speaking of an Expert Sleepers shout out, the FH2 is an amazing piece of gear. It is a beast. I have the main FH2 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 CV expanders and 1, 2, 3 gate expanders. So any and every MIDI signal I want to basically coming from the DAW or other equipment, I can have that go into the FH2, and the FH2 basically acts as the backbone, which is really cool. I don't have to think about it too much. I know, roughly speaking, which channels are which here. So each card slot, if you will, is I guess it's a module, but each one is its own MIDI channel. So MIDI channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we get into the drums, which each note has a corresponding trigger on it. And then we have like a clock divider. Couple unused channels at the moment that I haven't messed with. So room to expand. They're there. I just haven't configured them, but they are wired in. So yeah. So everything is going into the Symphonian from the FH2, except for the drums, but we'll talk about that in a second. So channel 1 is our bass voice at the moment, if I remember it. Yes. No. Channel 1 is lead. Channel 2, MIDI channel 2, bass. That is, the pitch is going into the Symphonian and is being quantized by the Symphonian. If you guys haven't seen my other videos talking about that, it's pretty cool. Basically, the chord changes based off of, the quantization gets changed based off the chord that's selected, and the chord selection you can sequence. So we're using the sequence mode in the Symphonian, but we're having another channel come out of the FH2, which is actually jumping between the various chords within the Symphonian. So that way we can get really choosy. We can sequence it in the DAW. There's a nice convenience factor where the step changes between the Symphonian channels correspond to 1/12 of a volt, which is one semitone in modular. So if you think about your standard 1 volt per octave, 1/12 of a volt is one semitone. So that means that I can sequence it using piano notes or regular MIDI notes coming out of the FH2 as 1/12 of a volt. And I can get real choosy about how I'm stepping through, which is cool. So that is channel 3 right now is set up basically to jump between the chords. The actual chords are configured in the Symphonia itself. Channel 2 we haven't used yet. It is going into the lip. I can't even pronounce this. Loquelic Iteritas Persidio. That will be the lead voice. I was messing around with that on Monday, but I didn't get too far, so there's nothing set up there yet, but it is wired in. The bass voice, like I mentioned, Manus Iteritas, lots of stuff on the chain right now. It's going into the Pittsburgh Lifeforms delay, but only just barely. I've been messing with that. I'm not sure if I'll use it in this patch. Might take it out. Let's see. Cool things. So the way I have the FH2 set up is that basically on each of these first 3 channels, we have pitch, gate, velocity if we want it. And then 4 through 8 are set to be MIDI CC 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. So the cool thing is that you can actually, and let me pull this up on Bitwig so you can see what I'm talking about. If I show the automation, not the mix and mute, knob one value. So you can see if I pull up my actual device chain. So I just have a MIDI channel device on my Bitwig, which basically allows me to send MIDI CC values to the FH2. So here's 40, which I am basically using as the envelope depth on the Manasiterataz. So the best way to show this is to listen to it. So let me solo the bass voice, and you can hear it. So this is set to be lower for this first part. It's more plucky. So that's the first one. And then for the chorus, it pumps up the CV, and it sounds like this. So yeah, so I was having fun with that, just as a way to get kind of more fine-grained control within the sequencer about various modular parameters, which is cool. So let's see. You can do more fun stuff. You can actually do full full automation. You know, you can do your tracing up and down, do all sorts of fun stuff. You can draw in automations, and it will translate into voltages for your modular to use, which is really cool. And that's all done within Bitwig and within the FH2, which is neat. So if you guys want to try that out, I'd recommend it. It's fun. Let's see here. What do I want to talk about next? Yeah, that's it. The bass voice does have some saturation coming in from the tan H, the tan, or it's really just tan H because it's actually just math. Before it goes out to the audio, I might take out the delay. I'm not sure yet. We'll see what it sounds like with and without in a minute here. Moving on to the chord voice. So let's hear that. Lots of fun stuff going on here. I'll just play through a little bit just so you can hear the chord jumps. And I'll play it with the drums because you can hear the ducking going on. And without the drums, so you can just hear it with the ducking. So the chord voice, like I said, is the cubic chord. All 4 channels coming from the symphonian are going into the chord. The chord output is being split into 2. So one output is basically going clean into the VCA. The other output is going into a sample and hold. And if you guys were watching my live stream on Friday, I believe it was Friday, someone in there basically suggested using the sample and hold with audio rate triggers to basically do bit crushing. So let me just play just that so you can hear what it sounds like. And actually turning the chord voice up. So yeah, so it's got a kind of mean sound to it, for lack of a better word. Yeah, so essentially what I have is the DCO basically fully, basically as high frequency as it can go, not audio. It's not using any sort of pitch versus octave or pitch octave, but it's literally just oscillating as fast as it can and sending that square wave into the trigger input on the random step. And that is what's giving that bit crusher sound. The other part is I have Oct, one of the kind of medium fast channels, modulating the FM on the DCO. So if you hear it slightly, you can see that as the voltage changes here on Oct, maybe you can't see that, but as the voltage changes on Oct, it's slightly modulating the frequency on the DCO. Not enough to kill the bit crushing, because if you go too far, like if I were to turn this, all of a sudden it's got a very different sound to it. So just a little bit here, just to kind of mess with it, but nothing too crazy. So that's one half of that. Like I said, the other half is just the clean chord voice, which is that. And those two are being combined in the quad VCA. And I have this cool ducking trick, which I figured out the other day, thanks to the hint from Second Breakfast. So shout out there. Let me play the drums again, but I'm going to mute the drums. Yeah, you can hear it there. So what's happening? How are we doing that? That's pretty cool. I have the kick trigger going into the quad drum kick channel, or the channel I have set up as kick anyway. The trigger for that is being duplicated, and it's going into an envelope on the quart, or the nano quart envelopes. And so it's a really short trigger, and basically all it's doing is firing really quick and going away. And so the attack is really short, and the decay is a little bit longer. But that's a positive voltage, which is not really useful. So I have that going into a Quadrat by IntelliGel, and that's being inverted into a negative envelope. So now instead of going, plus 10 volts or plus 5 volts, it's going negative 10 volts or negative 5 volts every time it fires all the way at the peak. Trough? I guess it's a trough at that point. That negative envelope is now going into the VCA. So the VCA is by default fully open, essentially, and the envelope is essentially subtracting from the control voltage on the VCA. So that is what's giving that kind of ducking sound. Let me play it one more time. So as the envelope fires, you can hear it. It's basically dropping the level of the VCA rather than opening it up. It's closing it down. So a little bit inverse of what you would think normally, but it works really well. And so with the drums, you can almost not really hear it, but it's basically allowing that kick to come through because it's really compressing down the... there's nothing for the kick to compete with at that point because it's the chord is reduced down so much. Cool. So while I got the drums up, let's talk about that. Nothing fancy going on here at the moment. Everything is going from the quad drum basically right out to audio, and the quad drum has all 4 voices on it at the moment. We might add more, we might tweak them. I'm not sure yet, but for the moment, it's fine. The sequence is okay on the drums. Not particularly excited about it, but it works. It's this kind of rocky thing. Nothing too stellar, but it's fine. So what do we want to work on today? Today I want to work on the lead and actually come up with a lead. Let me play the lead just to kind of noodle around on it so you can hear it. But yeah, hang on. Stop. Mute. There's a lot going on here. That's a bit cleaner, I think. I like that a bit more than the other algorithm. This one's a little fun too. This one, there's a lot going on there. my bit just a bit too much. What do I want to do here? So I know you guys can't see it at this angle, but essentially the way the lip, because I'm not going to try to pronounce the name again, works, is it has essentially parameter values, and then it has, you can control the amount the envelope, the self-generated envelope affects those parameter values. So if you wanted it to not affect it at all, you basically turn these middle knobs vertical at 12 o'clock, and it has no effect. To the left, you get a negative effect. As the envelope ducks, it will pull the parameter down. Obviously, to the opposite direction, it will increase it. And then the right side of it is basically the actual control over the parameters itself. So if you wanted no envelope control, you basically can just zero out the envelopes and then modulate each parameter individually. That's if you're using it in trigger mode, which I am. I'm letting it use its own envelope. Sound coming out only the left channel. Please let me know if you guys are having sound issues. Looks like maybe you are, which is not good. Whoops. Let me figure that out. Thank you for calling that out. I appreciate it. Let me just put you on the modular view. Let me go check my mixer. Oh, you know what? I know what it is. It's because I didn't save my... No. That looks right. I might have unplugged something on the back of my case. Give me 1 second to go crawl on the floor. No worries. I do want to fix it because otherwise it's going to bug me too. Why? Oh. How about now? Hey, there we go. All right, hopefully that should be better now. I think I fixed it. See, this is what happens when you rip out everything and rebuild your desk like 40 different times like I do. Somehow I messed up the setting in the streaming software that it was the output of my audio interface was panned hard left for some reason. So apologies for that. Thank you for calling it. I appreciate it. It should be fixed now. So perfect. Cool. So back to where we were. Let's see. So that is the voices. I was playing with the locarit. See, I'm just gonna call it the lip. I was giving it lip. Trying to fix that, and let's just kind of noodle around and see if we can kind of come up with something melodic maybe while it's playing. I'm not a player by any sense of the word. So, I know you guys can't really see this off camera at the moment, but I'm basically just noodling around on the push, just to kind of hear how different things sound. Let me pull in the velocity. Let me patch that in really quick with something. Let's just hear what this sounds like. I don't know if it's going to be any good or not, but nope. You know what we could do? We can just be lazy. I'll show you what I'm doing. So I am going to just add an arpeggiator into the note effects here. Where are you? Yeah, arpeggiator. So that way we can do things like this. And we need to change the gate length down. Probably too fast. I think we can go down to like an 8th note. There we go. So now we could do something like oh, this is so big. And this is like an 8-bar phrase, so we can take this out. Whole 8 bars, and we'll just do like, I don't know, different chord shape every like 2 beats or something like that. Let's just hear what that looks like on a 2-bar loop, just to see what it sounds like. I like where that's going. I want to change the we can have it like skip. bass. That sounds kind of fun. So I tell you where I do like it is. Stop for a second. Baroque dead mouse metal. Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, I would say that fits. I like it actually here with the chorus sound. I think that actually kind of works well. I think we can play first in previous block. I kind of like that there. I think that works. I think it's this first one where we need something different. So here's what the full progression sounds like with the chords on. You turn off the solo one. There's the drums. Still not set up right. God damn it. See, it kind of works. I kind of like that. Not gonna lie, I do kind of like that. We just need something for that first part. Before we do that, let me think. Is there anything else we want to change about the patch? Because I know staring at the DAW is probably not super interesting for you guys. So let me do this. Just hear how this sounds. What we can do, maybe. We could maybe vary this. Go to this one. Let's see, just for fun. So just so you guys can see what I did here, basically what I did was I added an automation lane for the arpeggio rate. So essentially this first kind of scene here, we're going to be increasing and decreasing the arpeggio rate between 8th notes and 16th notes. So it'll basically speed up and slow down, speed up and slow down, and just give it a little more interest in the actual kind of rhythm of the melody in kind of air quotes there. Let me just play that so you can hear what it sounds like. And then these don't actually have to change with the chord specifically, but it's kind of fun that they do. We can speed it up and drop it back down maybe. I kind of like this quite a bit. I think this sounds pretty cool. Let's play it all out with the chords again. And the drums. just patching some things around here to change some stuff. So I just let me show Bitwig. So again, messing around with the ability to kind of send CCs out to the FH2. So just kind of messing with that to see what it sounds like and see what we can do with it. I'm gonna modify this voice and kick it into the FX aid and add on a reverb a little bit, and then I'm gonna modulate the dry wet of the reverb with the MIDI values coming from Bitwig. Oops. Sounds like an evil carousel right now. No, that's not what I wanted. That'll work to start. All right, let's see here. Let me just just gonna put this on our ramp to see actually when it starts to kick in. Interesting. All right, we need to do something new. So I think essentially the more positive the voltage gets on the FX aid, and I'm sure somebody's read the manual because I haven't, it will reduce the wet. Yes, it will become drier. So let's take the output voltage from, so like I can go configure it in the FH2, but I'm lazy, so I'm just going to take the output voltage of the FH2 and invert it in the quadret. And let's hear this now. That's what I wanted. Okay. Cool. So now that I understand how my module works, we can mess with the envelope. And I think what I want to do is let me go back to my kind of freehand tool here. There we go. So I'm going to just kind of draw this in the pen tool. So I think so So the way we had it was kind of like slower and then speed up, slower, speed up. If I remember right, maybe I'm misremembering that, but I think we want like decently high, drop, and then maybe come back up at the end, something like that. Let's see what that sounds like. That's a bit too much. I like this. I like this quite a bit. Cool. Let's see here. Been going for quite a while. It's 10:03. We haven't been on there the full time. It's been about an hour. Let's see. Do I wanna quit while I'm behind and ahead? I like this. It sounds pretty cool. I think it's not bad. Can maybe give this a little bit more reverb. I like the step. I think that's neat. Maybe like this. Yeah, I think that sounds cool. I know I have it turned down, but that chord voice is just getting kind of lost. Let me take these down a bit, and then I want it to be somewhat in the background, but I don't want it to be like totally gone. Yeah, thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. Yeah, I like this quite a bit. All right. I think I'm going to call it there for tonight. Thank you guys all for tuning in. It's about 11 or no 10ish, a little past 10 on the East Coast, which is where I am. Thank you guys for checking out the channel. I appreciate it. I will maybe be streaming tomorrow, depending on what time. It might be later. We'll see. I think this went really well. I'm getting the hang of all of the equipment I have. So I have a third camera coming in, which will be a much wider shot, so you'll be able to see more what's going on just in general, versus the top shot up here looking down onto the modular. So stay tuned for that. That should be one more view, which would be nice. If you guys questions, comments, concerns, feedback, all of it, welcome. I appreciate you guys for checking it out. Thank you guys for watching. This was a lot of fun. Stay tuned for more to come. I'll try to look at the camera and not the monitor, which is what I'm looking at. Hey, everybody. Looking right into your eyes. Yeah, cool. So stay tuned. More to come. Going to try to be doing this typically at least 3 times a week. This week is going to be mostly focused on building a patch. I have a couple challenge ideas for myself in mind. I think the next one I want to do, I have two to choose from. The first challenge I'm calling the Gordian Knot Challenge, which is basically I have to build a patch, but I have to build a patch such that whenever I patch into a module, I have to then use all of that module's inputs and outputs for that patch, which is pretty difficult. If you look at, if you just look at my patch right now, there's a lot of empty, onesie, twosie, patches going into a given module. So to be able to use every patch point on a module should be pretty interesting. Going to have to kind of really get creative with how you use different modules, how you have to think. I was thinking about this. You have to really be careful about when you bring a module into a patch versus just like, oh, I can just use it. No, you can't. You have to, if you use it, you have to use it. So you have to think really hard about whether you, whether you can, right? There's going to be some exceptions to that. Obviously, like I/O, just to get audio in and out, I think is a reasonable exception. But beyond that, I think it should be pretty interesting. So that's one idea I have. Maybe do that next week. The other idea I have is called shorties. Similar idea. The idea is you have to use short cables for patching. So again, artificial limitation. The idea here is if I only use short cables to wherever I can, I think this one might be a little bit harder to do, but if I can only patch between like a module in itself or a module and its like next neighbor, what does that do for how I think about the patch, right? How do I build it? Again, let me, if I cut back to the view here, right? Like my case layout is pretty interesting. I think I call it my Sudoku case, my Sudoku case layout. I think it's been working decently well. But the idea is that if you every kind of, vertical or horizontal has a VCA, an envelope, filter, or something like that. So you can kind of patch all over the place. Versus like, here are my filters, here are my envelopes, here are my VCAs, here are my drum sounds, here are my oscillators, right? Like I tried that. I thought that it didn't work too well for me. Yeah, rearranging the case a lot. Yep, definitely. Yeah. So what I tried to do was, just kind of think about like if every kind of vertical column had a VCA and a filter and an oscillator and same, mostly vertical really, but same horizontal as well, right? Then when I was patching, I wouldn't be doing, long cable draws. I would kind of have a more balanced patch, if you will, rather than like the patch goes here and then here and then here and then down and then out, right? Like that was kind of where all my patches were going. And what would happen is I would try to patch into the same modules over and over again and then run out of cables. And this is all a wild tangent. But anyway, the idea with building the case this way was that everything was everywhere and I could just patch into various places and know like, oh, I got an envelope over here. I got one over here. I got one over here. I can jump around a little bit more. So all that is to say, for the shorty patch challenge, what do you do? So this patch cable is I think 6 inches, maybe 8 inches, but What if you can only patch using these, with exceptions again? Obviously, there's going to be some limits, but if you can only patch, between the module and its nearest neighbor, how does that affect your patching, right? Like, are you forced to be more creative? Are you coming up with totally crazy ideas on how to solve problems? I'm a strong believer that limitations breed creativity. Modular itself is already a kind of limitation, but it is also, just given the way that you can connect everything, it has nearly endless possibilities, almost infinite. I'm sure if you calculate out the permutations, it's probably, for every patch input to every patch output, is probably in the at least tens of thousands, if not more, for a given case of this size. Which means that there's a lot of options, but not every option is real. So having these kind of artificial limitations like this, or doing something like using every patch point, right, for every given module. Those are just a couple ideas I had. If you have ideas, if you are watching this and be like, oh, you should really try blah blah blah, drop me a line in the comments and I will definitely try it. I think the shorties one and the kind of quote unquote Gordian knot one seem pretty interesting to me. Also, if you are watching and you have a case of your own and you want to try these, go for it. If you beat me to it, that's awesome. We'll have to come up with some sort of fancy hashtag or something if you are sharing your content with those ideas. But feel free to do so. I'm not going to come after you. I think it's awesome. If you guys find any inspiration from me, that seems really cool. No pressure though. Yeah. So thank you for checking it out. I'm gonna cut it here. If you guys like this, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more. If you don't like it, let me know too. I'm always looking for feedback, both from a kind of musical perspective, but also just a how do I stream better perspective? How do I make this more interesting for you? Would love to hear that as well. Yeah, thank you guys all for tuning in. I appreciate it. See you on Thursday. Probably not tomorrow, but probably on Thursday. And then probably on Friday again. So cool. Thank you guys. Cheers.